Even when she acts cold, distant, or like she couldn't care less, there's something she fears more than heartbreak, rejection, or even being wrong. It's silence. Not just the absence of noise, but the kind of silence that screams. The kind that follows a fight. The kind that lingers after a long message goes unanswered. The kind that isn't broken by a hey or a how are you when she hoped it would be. That silence? It's loud in her head. It loops every single insecurity she ever had. Did I say too much? Did I care too hard? Was I just too much for him? Or worse, not enough? You think she's being cold. You think she moved on. You think she's out with someone else or scrolling like nothing ever happened. But what you don't see is that silence to her feels like abandonment wrapped in indifference. And she's felt that before. Maybe from someone in her past. Maybe from someone she once begged to stay. So instead of begging again, she chooses distance. Coldness. She'll tell herself it doesn't matter. She'll act like she's too strong to care. But deep down, the silence is tearing her apart. You don't see the way she stares at her phone, waiting for a message she swore she'd ignore anyway. You don't see the countless drafts she typed and deleted, wondering what version of herself would make you reply. You don't hear the battles in her mind, one side screaming move on, the other side whispering just one more try. She might block you not because she hates you, but because seeing you online while you ignore her is worse than not seeing you at all. She might say she's done, but every piece of her still hopes you'll prove her wrong. Silence is her fear because it doesn't give closure. It doesn't explain. It doesn't answer. It just echoes. It lingers in every corner of her thoughts, making her question everything she thought was real. You see, when someone screams at you, at least they care enough to feel something. But silence? Silence feels like you were never worth the words. She remembers the time you used to check in, the little good mornings, the voice notes, the random updates about your day. And now, nothing. That switch, that sudden emotional blackout, feels like betrayal she never saw coming. And she won't ask why. Not because she's too proud, but because she's scared the answer will hurt more than the silence itself. She fears silence because it feels like punishment without a crime, a sentence without a trial, an ending without an explanation. You might think she's used to it. Maybe she's been through worse. But that doesn't make it easier. Every time she gets close to someone, she wonders if it'll end in silence again. That's why she hesitates now, why she pulls away, why she says she's not ready or claims she likes being alone. Because alone is predictable. Silence from others is not. She's learned to fake peace, to post like everything's fine, to laugh with friends while her mind replays that last conversation. She checks who watched her story not out of vanity, but to see if you still care. And when you don't view it, that silence grows. She scrolls through photos, rereads old messages, tries to find the moment where things shifted. Was it something she said? Something she didn't? That overthinking isn't weakness. It's her brain trying to fill the void your silence left behind. The silence becomes a mirror, and in that mirror, she only sees flaws. Flaws you never mentioned. Flaws she now believes were the reason you walked away. Even if you didn't. Even if you were just busy, lost, unsure. She doesn't know that. All she hears is silence, and her mind turns it into rejection. If you think she's cold, remember this. She once cared so loudly, so openly, with so much hope that the silence she got in return broke something in her. So now she plays it safe. She gives less. She tests you. Not because she's manipulative, but because she needs to know, will you show up even when she doesn't ask? Will you speak when she goes quiet? Will you see through her silence before it becomes permanent? Because deep down, what she truly wants is not flowers, not grand gestures, not long paragraphs. She just wants to feel like someone hears her even when she's not speaking. Like someone notices when her energy shifts. Like someone cares enough to break the silence. And here's the irony. She might walk away from you first, just to avoid the silence she fears. She might ghost before you do, even if she doesn't want to. She might end things over a small misunderstanding just because she thinks you were about to anyway. That's the power silence has over her. It makes her sabotage things just to stay in control. Because losing someone by choice feels better than losing them to indifference. You'll see her thrive eventually. Post better pictures. Laugh harder. Move on. But don't mistake that for healing. She's just learning to live with the silence, to dance with the ache, to convince herself that maybe, just maybe, it's not her fault this time. And you'll remember her. Maybe when you scroll past a meme she would have loved. Maybe when you see someone with the same laugh. Or maybe one night when everything's quiet and your phone doesn't buzz like it used to. That's when you'll realize she wasn't cold. She was scared. Scared of being left in silence again. Scared of being forgotten. Scared of giving her all and getting a void in return. And by the time you understand that, she'll already be gone. Not because she stopped loving you, but because silence taught her to stop waiting. So if you're reading this and you know someone like her, someone who went quiet, someone who changed, ask yourself if you listened when she didn't speak. If you cared enough to break the silence before it turned into a goodbye. Because sometimes all it takes is one message, one call, one moment of warmth to melt the ice she built around her heart. She's not asking for the world, just a little effort, a little reassurance, a little noise to fight the silence she fears the most. And if you can't give her that, then don't act surprised when she stops trying altogether. Because silence may be her biggest fear, but she survived it before, and if she has to, she'll survive it again. This time without you. Let this be your reminder. The strongest women often hide the deepest wounds. The loudest laughs sometimes follow the heaviest silences. And the coldest goodbyes usually come from those who once loved the hardest. So don't judge her by her distance. Don't label her as dramatic or too emotional or hard to love. Look deeper, because beneath the silence is a heart that once screamed to be understood, and all it ever wanted was to be heard.